Old man doing a podcast. Real weirdos. We have English degrees. Real weirdos. We talk about movies for way too goddamn long. Oh my God. We're back. We're back after so long. It's been so long. I was saying this to Alex during our High Life episode, which I think will come out before this. Maybe not. Maybe after. But in any case, around the same circumference. But we're back.
Yeah.
It's lovely to be here with you guys again. Jeez.
Either way, we're fully back with the three of us. So this is like the full return. The first one was
the
just
full
like
return.
What is it? The light grand opening. I forgot what those are called.
The return of the king of the
opening.
internet.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm pretty sure that's accurate. We're the kings of the internet at this point.
Yeah, it's us.
Yeah, well, I mean, also we reached 100 subs. It's a small thing, but you know what? For us, we started this as complete nobodies, and it was awesome for us.
Now we're complete nobodies plus one.
If we're
plus
I
one
don't know. I
nobodies.
just wanted to say thank you to you guys out there listening to us. It's rad, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure you found something else to do, like hopefully watch all the movies that we've reviewed while we were on our little break. But
oh no, they watch all of them right before they listen to the episodes, right? Right, everybody?
Yeah. Watch our entire backlog of videos.
It's on repeat. That's why they have so many views.
People just watching Man on Fire on repeat over and over again.
And then listen and get angry when we trash it again and again. Well, two of us did.
I don't know if it's the algorithm at work, but I see lots of pro Man on Fire articles on Twitter now where it's like, why is Man on Fire considered the best action movie of the early 2000s? And I was like, oh damn. All right.
No.
Maybe it's because you clicked on our video. I don't know. It's weird how that tends to happen though, even when you don't feel like you've been researching something.
Dude.
It's just something in your life is just somewhere in there. You're like, oh, all of a sudden I see 10 million videos about it.
You're on a random list somewhere where they're just trying to sway your opinion now.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion that it's still fun to watch, but
That would be even more fucking insane if they were like, well, we listened in and this guy actually thinks it's still a good movie, so we're going to suggest it to him.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed that one. It's like I thought it was bad, but like I said in the episode, I was like, I want you to help me figure out a mystery. The mystery is why I kind of like this movie, even though I don't think it's good.
there's just something alluring about it.
We haven't recorded in a month now, I believe.
Yeah.
Haven't had any content out for 2 weeks, but it'll soon change. Hopefully, stick back with it now.
Yeah. That's a little hiatus and back to a routine and schedule.
I've been sitting on my next pick for so long. I've watched
I
it
know,
like
you're ready to
25
talk about
times.
that cage, man.
Yep.
You're all stoked. You've been watching it every night before bed with your footy jams on.
Yeah.
Getting ready to get gone in 60 seconds. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
That's the one?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I'm gonna bungle it.
I'm so
I'm
excited.
gonna say the name of the wrong Nick Cage film. Like Mandy. Yeah.
I'm so excited to watch that movie. I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
in so long.
I've never seen it. If I have, I don't remember it. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about The Crow, baby. Fire it up. Fire it up.
Fire
Fire it up. Fire it up. Fire it up. That tracks for the Real Weirdos, that level of energy. But yeah, baby, we got smokes. We got road beers. We're here to talk about The Crow. Let me pull it up on IMDb because I'm really professional. The White Crow. What's that movie with Ray Fiennes? That's not the one.
Probably more artistic than this one.
Hey, this is the pinnacle of artisanship,
It's a
my friend.
Brutisonship.
Brutisonship. Yeah, 1994 film by director Alex Proyas. Another Alex. Director of Dark
Great.
City. and nothing else that was good. I believe.
Wait, no fucking way. Okay.
Yeah, he did Dark City.
That makes perfect sense.
And then he made, let's see, he did I, Robot, the Will Smith film.
Hey,
I'll be honest, I don't remember that.
Horrible. It's just
Okay.
it's just 75% horrible.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. He did a film called Knowing in 2009, which I have not seen.
Is that the one with Nicolas Cage?
Is it? Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
some apocalyptic fucking
Nick Cage
shit.
just gets around, man. He's like actor herpes. He just spreads from director to director, and like sometimes it's not bad, and you're like, oh, I just got a minor Nick Cage flare up, and then sometimes you get Ghost Rider, and you know it's a major flare up, and like no one wants to get near you for a while.
No. And then it's like, ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your pigs and your mandies. He's done some good stuff recently, but we're not here to talk about Cage. It's so easy to dovetail into Cage talk. Because he's like, it's you know how there's the 6 degrees of separation for Kevin Bacon or whatever it is?
Yeah.
There's like 2 degrees for Cage, like no matter where you're like operating from.
It's true.
But Proyas' latest one was Gods of Egypt, which was an unmitigated disaster.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, he got really angry that nobody liked his film. I remember that, and then he hasn't made one since.
Straight Uwe Boll move.
Yeah, he got a little away with it. He got a little defensive.
That's interesting.
I thought he was starting a Dark City TV show, but I guess I invented that. But anyway, we're talking about The Crow. The Crow from '94 with Brandon Lee. And this is a movie where I don't know or care if it's good. I love every frame of it because it's one of those movies for me, like similar to Donnie Darko. Although I think Donnie Darko is a more, like, probably a genuinely more good movie. But I think The Crow is good too. I don't know. I want to get your guys' thoughts though. I mean, this is a childhood film for me, but Jeff, what do you feel about The Crow? How was it to revisit it?
It was fun. I mean, Crow was also, I mean, surprise, surprise, someone who chose Johnny Darko. Johnny
Darko.
We're back, baby.
Old Donald Darkinson.
Someone who chose Donnie Darko. The Crow is also in my heavy rotation of repeated movies as a young, broody child. And it was a film that I loved very much. I was The Crow for Halloween. Multiple
Nice.
times.
I want to see pictures of that.
Wow. I don't know if they exist. I was The
Well,
Crow
you
for
gotta
Halloween
find
multiple times, like multiple years in a row.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's a movie I love very much. It's has its degree of camp to it, but I think that's fully adds to its charm, and I think we'll get there and address it. The story is a bit of a mess, but but it's also
What are you talking about?
It's also like this movie holds this singular tone of melancholy throughout it because you just kind of know the history of it now, like, so you know, like the history of Brandon Lee and now the details of the film. And so now as an adult, whereas as a kid I didn't quite understand. I was like, oh, the actor, he passed away, but like knowing Bruce Lee and how he passed and then Brandon Lee, it's like this movie just holds that little bit of sadness to it, a little note of sadness. And
yeah, Brandon Lee is definitely a specter over this film, like in his performance and otherwise, for obvious reasons. He was killed during production in an accident with a gun. But before we get into all that, Alex, were you The Crow for Halloween? The world needs to know.
No, I was not.
Because I was
not.
If all three of us were, oh man, we could have found the photos.
damn, that would have been amazing.
Posted all three.
I was not The Crow for Halloween because
Letting us down because it was too cool.
I had
All the
barely
cool kids were doing
I
it.
had barely watched this movie when I was a
Oh,
kid.
yeah.
I knew and had friends that their whole life identity is built around this movie. I don't mean that in a negative way. They were also kids that I hung out with because they were really into movies and like could tolerate levels of camp like I could, right? So that film was always something that they watched or they had like shirts or posters or shit of, and I was like, okay. But I never got around to really watching it. especially never got around to watching it like seriously. So I watched it almost like for the first time, really, because I had seen glimpses of it here and there, but almost for the first time.
I'm glad
we'll
get a different sort of opinion here.
And it's hard, right? Because obviously I'm not gonna go all in on the coolness at the age of 30 like I would if I was a little younger.
Seeing this like ridiculous corny movie for the first time
so
at age 30.
The camp definitely rode the edge for me, but I liked it, and I can see why. You can like obviously see why this movie became a cult classic, right? Like the villains in it were perfect. We'll get to like the top dollar guy and everything, and like the costumes and like even the set design. Like it was all handmade, right? Like the city shots and everything. It was like miniatures and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
right? Like
yeah, definitely. Very, very obviously so now.
Exactly,
when you look
but
at it.
that was cool, and so that I don't know. I can see why this movie grew into itself, and like it seeped into just pop culture. Everyone knows this movie. They make references to it. The fact that you guys dressed up as it for Halloween is hilarious, because I'm sure the people who have seen South Park will know what I'm talking about. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's just, this movie's cool, but definitely every single time Brandon Lee is on screen, you're like, whoa, that guy got shot. That's crazy. And you're also thinking, whoa, he's the son of Bruce Lee, you know? So the movie is definitely a legend in of itself. So I liked it though, but it's definitely campy. So if you're watching it for the first time at this age, like, you might not get caught up in the thrill of it.
What do you mean campy? Where's this coming from? He goes up to the roof on top and plays a guitar with his makeup on.
God damn you, Jesse. I really wanted to be the one to mention that. Fuck off.
I actually really like that
Jeff,
scene.
tell us about the guitar on the rooftop. Well, that's okay. Dogs. It's all right. They're part of the show now. Just come on. Just come back in.
Dogs.
No, is it that loud? Okay. It's that loud. Wow. Throw him a bone. Jeez. Well, yeah. I mean, we're just gonna assume everyone's seen this movie because it's through Crow. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing listening to this if you haven't seen it? But yeah, I mean, okay. So, I think this time one of the things that I really honed in on watching it critically, because it's like it's not a movie that I watch critically, right? It's like one of those movies you guys talk about that you just throw on all the time when you want like comfort food kind of movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I was like, and I've never just sat there and like analyzed what's working. It's never a movie I've done that to until now. And I think the biggest thing for me, I mean, obviously I was a big fan of Brandon Lee's character because he was gothy and blah, blah, blah and cool. And so was I, jokey. Not saying I was cool, just gothy. But I loved the villains. The villains were phenomenal, and I think that they're honestly like maybe what makes this movie work. What gels the whole thing together, especially T-Bird and Top Dollar, whose name is never in the film, but I don't know. I love T-Bird and Skank, and they also tie into like this comedic element of the film that I don't know. This movie is very funny, actually.
David Patrick
It has some
Kelly,
really funny lines.
the actor who plays T-Bird, is one of my favorite actors, like character actors. And he plays a medium-sized role in the original Twin Peaks and in The Return. And
The Warriors.
He is fucking hilarious. He is so funny every time he's on screen. Even if he's not trying to be comedic, his just energy and his vibe is so like, I don't know. He's a great actor. I love him.
One of my crew got themselves perished. 10-10. Somebody stuck his blades in all his major organs in alphabetical order.
But Michael Wincott,
I was laughing.
too, especially.
Jeff, are your dogs still barking? Why are you muted over there? Wow, holy crap. Damn. Get the wife to take him out. Take him out to the park.
It's all right. My Google Home made an appearance as a fourth member of the Reel Weirdos, so
That's
Jeff's
true. That
dogs
happened
are
last night.
Definitely members by
Yeah.
now.
You also got Skank. That's him, but he looked different. He was all painted up like some kind of dead whore. Yeah, I like the whole interplay with the villains. I like how it sets it up, which is something that the sequel failed to do. I'll talk about the sequel a little bit later. But yeah, I don't know, Eric Draven. It's like a whole jolly club with jolly pirate nicknames.
I like how unorthodox he was, actually. Because I didn't know what to expect, and I thought he was going to be this kind of like badass fucking, like kung fu. Like, I thought they were going to try and use like Jeet Kune Do and like his dad's whole like martial arts thing to influence the film. And they didn't really do that. And then I was like, okay, then he's just going to be a superhero with guns or some shit like that. Like, I don't know. But the way that his character was cool, because I don't know, like, do you think he was like that in real life as a normal human being? Like the way he would speak to people, like, and play these like kind of like almost Riddler like philosophical games with them before he would kill them. Like, or do you think he was just having that much fun avenging,
I have no idea. I have no idea
do you know what I'm
how
talking
much
about,
of like
though?
Yeah,
Okay.
his aspect is like really unique in cinema. There's definitely like a Joker vibe there, where it's like, yeah, he's playing into the campiness of the character and like utilizing this dialogue that's like, you heard me rapping at your chamber door, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Like stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it was like a really troubled production. I know that it wasn't fun to shoot for anybody at all. But, hey, Jeff. Come on in, buddy. You got something to say? Come talk.
I
Come
have
talk
many
at
things
us.
to say, but the joys of owning dogs that just alert to everything. There you go. There they are. Everyone.
Yeah.
Tried my best.
No, we'll just have to deal with it. It's all right.
Yeah. I mean, this movie is to kind of address a lot of points that were made. I think to surmise your both of your reads of it. I think this movie is made by someone who loves campy action films and wanted to make one. And meanwhile, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. And when I was watching it, I kind of was thinking, like, I think this is... If Lana Wachowski was taking her message of the new Matrix movie seriously, I think this could have been the tone of it. This type of kind of dark, broody, but at the same time making fun of dark and broody, like the way the character paints himself up and says like little poetry quotes and whatnot. It's just so...
That's interesting.
It's so self-aware. I think Eric Draven's character, while he is meant to be serious and dark, at the same time, he's saying these lines that kind of make him into a caricature of this type of character. This like powerful... I mean, if you look at it, Eric Draven's like immortal. He's powerful. He's like taking bullets. Neo's like dodging bullets. He's supposed to be like pretty close to immortal. He's the one. Like, it's like, I think it would be funny if Lana Wachowski actually took this route where she was able to address the fact that aspects of her movie are campy, and that would be meta in a kind of a fun way, because I feel like every character in this movie is kind of a fun little meta. Like you got like the guy with all the knives, so you got your knife guy, and they're in there like swallowing bullets in shot glasses.
Yeah. I thought about that. I was like, they're gonna have to shit those out.
I was like, dude, they're just shitting bullets? Like, that's crazy. And like, they do it like a practiced game. So I'm like, they do this regularly? So like,
tradition of badassery.
It's pure like ego. It's pure macho male. Then you have like the strung out lady who's just like the mom who's just like, no fucking money on the table. Like, it's just so. Every character in this film is turned up to 11. Their archetype. It's like, you got the heroine, and then Top Dollar, which I'm to this day looking up on IMDb is the first day I realized he had a name.
Yeah,
I just called him. I always
film.
called him the boss guy. I was just like the boss because that's all they ever call him. But Top Dollar, whatever, he is.
It's from the comic book.
Michael Wincott, and that's the first time I'm also learning this actor's name. He's one of those Snapfinger famous guys, where you're just like, it's that guy, like it's. You see him in
I've seen you in The Crow.
You've
and
seen
some
him
other
in some
things.
weird like eclectic movies. Sometimes you're like, oh yeah, he's got like that dark, like chiseled jawline, like with the long hair. This movie's so metal. Like this movie is so the end of. It's almost like a pushback to the hair metal genre, where it's like they're all kind of glamorous, but in a very goth
dark
way.
Yeah.
Well, that speaks to the soundtrack, because it's like the style of the movie and of Eric Draven really like is a tribute in a sense to the soundtrack, which is heavy on Nine Inch Nails and The Cure, which did bespoke tracks and awesome tracks, by the way. Two of the best tracks from those bands for this movie, which I think is fantastic.
That's awesome.
Super cool.
Well, there was definitely a love here for that. What the true seriousness of this film was I think that aesthetic, that goth aesthetic and lifestyle. It's just put into a campy action movie with like Ernie Hudson plays Detective or Officer Albright, former Detective Albright. You know, it's like you have the 80s cop figure. You have you have all of these tropes. You have the kid. You know,
Can we talk about the kid really quick?
Yeah. Let me say one more thing first before we jump to the kid. I love that this. I never thought about it this before, but I'm a big Cure fan, and this movie is like. You take the tone of the Cure songs that I love and transpose it into a movie. There's no better representation of what the Cure feels like than this movie. That sort of like romantic, gothy, kind of corny aesthetic of the best Cure songs.
The Forest.
It's like distilled. It's perfect.
Yeah, definitely very influenced by the Cure. I mean, obviously with the soundtrack and everything. But go ahead, Alex. Let's start it on the kid.
Okay, so that is like when you started talking about tropes and archetypes, I was so happy because the kid is definitely, that's one, right? The kid has to be one.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the kid, there was something going on in
90s
like
kid.
the 90s where it was, I mean 80s, 90s, whatever you want to call it. It was like a young tag-along kid to this. Like here, like all I'm thinking about right now is Terminator 2, right? This like kind of vagabond, like ragtag kid that like, I don't know. You want to say maybe even in the movie Hook, if you want to push that with the fucking the Lost
totally.
Kids, and then the I was just thinking of another one. Indiana Jones, the what is it? The second
Short
one?
Round.
Yeah, right. Like there was this weird like sidekick trope going on, and it made it interesting, and it gave life to the city that they built in The Crow. You'd have like street kids like in industrial England, right? Like Oliver Twist and all these street urchins. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, well, sans like Indiana Jones, I think you're talking about like the trope of like the influenceable child, like this kid that can go either way down either path, and you can. It's like they're at a crossroads and then meeting the hero, the super. Because like I mean, Eric Draven is a superhero. I mean, he's a super anti-hero, essentially.
I mean, he's a zombie, right?
I mean, a little bit, yeah.
He's a cool guitar zombie.
Yeah.
And so like, she meets the superhero, and now she can be influenced towards, I don't know, a better path. And that's where the movie kind of falls apart, because it has these themes that I feel not start out, but like kind of intertwine and interweave, but never come to any kind of conclusion. It's like, what is Eric Draven's goal? Is it just purely a vengeance film, like where it's just to kill everyone? Or is he, because when we get to the end, I think we can address, like, you know, it seems like he's trying to like convey a theme to Top Dollar, or like a moral message with the way he like wins that fight. And it, I don't know. Go ahead.
The framing device is one of the weakest parts, and it's like literally just a framing device, because you have basically the voiceover narration. If the people our love are stolen from us, the way to have them live on is to never stop loving them. Buildings burn, people die, but real love is forever. You're like, you could fucking shove that into like any movie. It like has nothing to do with The Crow. It's like he comes back to life because love is forever, in order to kill the people that raped and murdered his wife, and then he does it, and then he gets to go back to the beyond and be with her. I don't know. I agree. Like, I don't know what the like overall message is.
Love.
Other than like that, like buildings burn, people die, but real love is forever. But that's not like interesting.
Yeah,
it's
like
like a platitude.
to bookend the violence.
Exactly.
It's kind of its whole objective is to be like, okay, we're going to say this in the beginning so that way you understand that this is all about true love. And we love, I mean, that's such a played out trope. Like, we love true love, romance, vengeance stories. Like, oh, I killed my wife, so I'm going to go, or killed my partner. And in this movie, it's just especially grotesque because you have like these very, I won't consider them
rape.
Graphic, but just like intense flashbacks to like her experience being raped and murdered by these fucking clowns. And
it's emotionally graphic, if not like visually. It's implied.
You gotta just and it takes many watches. I think in this movie it takes like a good solid like 5 watches to understand even why that happened in the first place. Like the whole eviction, like the fact that I never got that. I definitely didn't get it when I was young. Maybe as I got older and I watched it, I finally picked it up. But like this whole idea that like they were coming in as like this eviction enforcement squad because Shelley had partnered up with like a union of the rest of the people in the apartment building to protest.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but it's then why is it a part? You know, it's like that's what I'm talking about. There's all these weird loose threads in this movie where I don't think that was. I think that enforces the point that he's trying, that Alex Proyas, change it, was trying to make a film about those things that he liked in campy action goth movies, and then nothing else. So it's like if a story thread goes awry, who cares? Because this is that's not the kind of movie I'm making. And that
he wanted to make a movie where Eric Draven is a badass and like had to fight these guys. And that's like what he focused on.
And it's based 100%. On a comic, you said? Like, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I believe so.
Is it a long comic? Yeah, like I didn't even realize it was based on a comic. This is how much
I better check this, actually. I'm just assuming this from like prior knowledge.
No, it says writers James O'Barr, comic book series and comic strip.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Okay.
Who knows? Yeah, I'm sorry if you're a fan of the Crow comic strip and like, dude, do your fucking homework. Like, yeah, you're right, I don't. Like, you're totally right.
Yeah, we don't know.
It has its own flavor of cool that stands out even in like the 80s 90s hodgepodge of like what cool was and like what subculture was for, I'm just gonna say it now, white people, because they had no subcultures of their own. But it's like I don't know, it's just this fucking, it's not post-apocalyptic, right? But it's like almost a cyberpunky feel with this goth twist. It's like, it gave me like Ninja Turtles vibes. It gave me
nice.
I mean, it's not in a bad way. It's just like there was something going on in filmmaking at the time that they were making movies for like predominantly young men and young adult men that I feel like had this flavor or this like vibe to them, and The Crow capitalized on that perfectly. But again, like I said, it stood out in its own way because I think of the soft like love kind of aspect to it. You know, even the scene you were talking about with the guitar playing on the roof, like that's a different type of cool, I guess. So
it's the coolest cool you could ever cool.
I mean, have you guys ever seen Surf Ninjas with Rob Schneider?
Oh God,
it's like,
I think when I was like a child, I think so.
It's about like,
or Three Ninjas,
some kid,
I don't know.
yeah,
Some
exactly,
ninjas.
shit like that. It's like, I don't know, the film industry was just rife with this trope of young kids who like did these heroic things by being fucking cool. I don't know how
So you're drawing a comparison between Surf Ninjas, the little kid characters, and Eric Draven? I'm lost.
No. The kid character in.
Oh, the kid character.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about the vibe of coolness and everything like that, and the
90s cool vibe.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's not like, I don't know. I don't know if I agree. I mean, it definitely feels 90s. Definitely feels 90s cool. in a very different way than those other movies, though. It's not like, oh, geez, oh, cowabunga, bro.
Yeah.
Or whatever those kids are saying in Surf Ninjas. It's more like...
Zoo, dude.
I don't know. It's very dark as well. Like, we can get into Top Dollar and, like, the criminals in this movie. And he's, like... He might be one of my favorite criminals in all of cinematic history. He's so great. He's fucking hilarious.
Dude, the movie got serious then, too, when you got into the criminals towards the latter half of the movie. That's when it got a lot more serious, in my opinion.
We ought to have a moment of silence for dear old Tintin. Takes a big old line of blow.
I mean, he's just one of those characters that is so fragmented from the rest of reality of the film. Like, everything is like this slummy, scuzzy, wet. This movie's so wet all the time. And but then you have him, like, he's always shot in like this decadence, this goth decadence, these long, giant, either the huge table he's sitting at or this like decadent bedroom. And he's like killing hookers and fucking eating their
I think we broke her.
Like eating their eyeballs, like fucking hookers and killing them with his like weird voodoo loving sister kinda. It's so fragmented, but it's at the same time it's like the perfect villain for this type of film, where he's so almost above his operation at this point that he becomes actually scary. He becomes like a supervillain almost, where you're like, oh, this guy participates in voodoo and the anti-crow magic almost, because like she learns like attack the crow. She like eats enough eyeballs to tell her to attack the thing that's constantly following around the spooky fucking hero.
She sniffs enough eyeball smoke to see into the beyond.
Yeah,
she's like, the crow is the source of his power. And you're like, sure, why not?
It's just, but it's not about that. It's everything up to that. I feel like this movie actually kind of falters in the finale. It feels like a little long and drawn out. Feels a little Lethal Weapon-y with Albright, like,
Ernie Hudson in there.
I'm shot and I'm laying in the fucking hallway. It just felt so 80s like cop movie.
But Jeff, it ended with a sword fight on a rooftop in the rain.
And it was just that part of the movie actually kind of faltered for me. I think everything up until the final fight was the best part of the movie. Just like the killing of each of members of his crew, Fun Boy, and all these weirdos. And we talked about everybody. We talked about Tintin a little bit. I mean, gotta love a knife character. Just always so much more sinister than they need to be. A knife wielding character in any movie is always like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get up in there and I'm gonna knife it. You know why knives are cool? Like, I always gotta mention that knives are more personal.
Yeah,
it's always just
got his black leather outfit and everything.
He's just such a funny character, and then
he
gets taken out right away. But then I love the dumb guy. What's his name?
Skank. Skank.
He's the one that ends up surviving the longest.
Is amazing.
Right? He ends up surviving the longest, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's the last one because he's like a coward and he just like runs away like bleeding into there, and they all like, oh well, it's like a rat. He almost reminds me of like Wormtail from Harry Potter, or like Gollum or something. He's just like, oh, Master, I'm hurting.
He ends up at like the dinner at the very end.
I'm not Skank. Skank's dead. There's Skank over there.
Oh man, it's so great. I mean, yeah, the best scene in the movie has to be the table scene with all like him, like they all shoot
the action
him.
Scene.
Yeah, like they all shoot him and then he comes back and takes them all out. I mean, that's just the best scene in the movie.
That is the scene that has the most throwing people through windows, which I always love in a movie. There's a lot of that in this film.
A lot of sugar glass.
Exactly.
A lot of sugar glass. I think that's also the scene where when they were shooting it that Brandon Lee got killed.
No.
It was in
it wasn't that one?
The scene where they're invading the apartment.
Yeah. He was killed.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a common misconception.
And
I used to
Fun Boy,
believe that too.
Michael Massey's character, which is
Yeah,
it's crazy
Skank.
because thank God they like filmed a lot of the story before they filmed that scene, because if they wanted to film it just chronologically, that would have been like one of the first scenes they filmed, right?
I don't know about thank God.
Okay, I'm sorry, Bruce Lee. I'm sorry, Brandon Lee. I didn't mean it like that.
Thank God we got this movie before we squeezed enough scenes out of him before he got shot.
Hey, we got sequels. We're good. We're fine.
Yeah, they have some fantastic sequels. We'll get to those later.
His
No, it was
memory
the
lives
apartments. It was the apartment scene where he like executes him. Yeah, and it was like, and it's funny that we just kind of had a similar thing with the whole Alec Baldwin Rust incident.
Yeah, I don't know how deep we need to get into that,
Yeah,
but
it was just bad prop master, you know. And,
yeah, bad prop masters, live firearm.
well, it's just not. It was live. And for this, it was just like, cartridge got stuck from a previous round, and then they put a non-blank round in that was full powder, and it just ejected that out of the barrel.
Yeah, rip in peace, Brandon Lee. He could have been something, man, for sure, and he is something, still.
Yeah, he has acting chops. Yeah,
pretty enduring legacy, and I mean,
kids everywhere.
There
all
was
over
some
the
talk
United
about
States.
not even releasing this picture, but
I'm glad they did.
I'm glad they did. Yeah, I think it's a really good tribute to him. But you're talking about favorite scenes, so I'm curious, Alex, you got some favorite scenes for this one?
Yeah, I think I mentioned earlier one of the scenes I really liked, and now I can't even think of it. But I like the scene where, I don't know what it is, but John Polito is a character actor as well. He was in quite a bit of movies when Tintin goes to like destroy a shop and you meet like the Crow for the first time. I liked that. All the scenes with Top Dollar were cool. That guy was fucking awesome. And of course David Patrick Kelly. I think the scene where he kills him in the car is one of my favorite scenes. Like, because him and David Patrick Kelly, T-Bird, are like kind of going back and forth in that scene. And then you see like when he finally is like, okay, this guy's going to kill me. You see like the panic set in and
that
everything.
realization moment.
And that was
Abashed
great.
the devil stood and felt how awful goodness is.
So many interesting lines in this movie, and the writing is so interesting as well.
It's a lot of poetry. There's a lot of like snippets of poetry in this movie. I don't know. It feels goth to its core, because that's kind of like part of the goth culture is like those little snippets of poems that you throw interlacing. It kind of speaks that language almost, and in a way that I don't find is insulting or trying to be like demeaning, but in a way that's almost loving to that culture.
No, I love the dialogue.
Housed in a very goofy action movie.
Yeah, I'm going through the just like lines in this movie. Like one of my favorite scenes is when he kills oh god, what's his name? The junkie guy. What's the junkie guy's name? Fun Boy, yeah. Fun Boy. That whole scene, not only just like, I don't know, the when he does his entrance as the Crow comes in, he's being jokey, and he's like this weird jester kind of character. And there's also a really touching scene that goes from that, like after he kills Fun Boy with the heroin needles, where he's like talking to the kid's mom, and he's like, "Mother is the name for God on the lips and hearts of all children. Do you understand? Morphine is bad for you. Your daughter is out there on the streets waiting for you." And that's still like a really impactful line, and it's like him showing her, and she just gets it. I don't know.
Well, it also helps that he like fucking squeezes heroin out of her veins, which I think was like a really funny kind of superhero moment. And that's what I love in this movie. It's like the supernatural aspect is intangible to the rest of the plot of the movie. Like, you have here an immortal superhero, but beyond just being invulnerable, he doesn't do many he's just kind of runs on rooftops and plays guitar. Like, his immortality is his superpower. It's just so when you do see him do like cool little things outside of that remind you, oh, this person is beyond a normal human, like squeezing heroin out of someone's veins, then it's like, oh yeah, that's right, you're dealing with, at least young me felt like, oh, you're dealing with a badass right now. You're dealing with somebody who is who is beyond the normal hero. And I don't know, I think that's to the movie's credit, is the way that Eric Draven is written into the film.
It is an oddly grounded kind of superhero, which is weird to say because it is the Crow, but it's not like he's like, I don't know, flying around the earth to punch a giant laser or something.
No, he doesn't have laser vision. He doesn't have X-ray vision. Like, he can't die because he's already dead. So technically, like Alex said, he's just a zombie. So his only power is like, I don't know, just edginess. He just, like,
the power of edginess. The power of edginess and revenge. Yeah.
It's like a cool anti-hero ethos, though. Like, that's definitely what they're going with there, right? Like, he was in a rock band before, like, they were up and coming, and, like, people were gonna know about him, and it's such a tragedy. And yeah, I don't know. He fucking shreds it, dude.
All the time.
And he...
Not rain all the time. Not rain all the time.
I love, like, when they have to write music for small movies like this, because they can't, like, they don't have the money
They
to,
should
like,
just had The Cure do his song for
so
him.
like every one of like his band's songs is so terrible because it's like something that was like spliced together in an editing room, and it's just,
all the time.
it's just
it's like people who
your
don't
Bauhaus
care.
voice is great.
They don't care about being lyricists or being like musicians or anything like that, and they're like, okay, we gotta write these fucking song lyrics for this fictional band in this movie we're writing.
What's the name of their band? What was it again?
Oh,
Fuck
God.
if I know.
It's something ridiculous.
It's like Sad Clown Summer or something.
Yeah, it's,
It's not that.
Clown Baby.
I don't know.
I don't know, but like,
Baby.
I mean, it's just. I mean, we're talking about like a movie for a while, but it's such a straightforward film too, which I like. It's like you there's no long build up. It's like he dies, he comes back, he has his like super duper fucking hero scene where he becomes the Crow, and then it's like death.
Oh yeah,
It's
they
like,
play the music and he puts the makeup on,
Yeah,
and you're like, yes.
it's like death, brood scene, death, brood scene, final fight, and it's just like done. Okay, cool, we're in and out.
Mixed with a lot of snappy, funny dialogue.
Yeah, but all the death has that stuff, and then you get to scenes like there's one scene that you genuinely feel bad for Eric because like it's the scene where he's meeting up with the cop in his apartment, and he does, he's talking to him, it's a big exposition scene, and then he's leaving and he's like, oh, you're gonna disappear again out the window? And he's like, I think I'd use your front door. And you're supposed to be like, oh, he doesn't even like want to be a zombie superhero. Like, it's such a weird mix of emotions because you feel bad for him because Brendan Lee's a good actor, and so
It's an interesting performance.
yeah, so it just feels like there was so much more to this character that was trying to escape. But I also think this movie has kind of wonky editing at times.
Oh,
But yeah,
definitely
I
an
could just-
epilepsy warning for the beginning of the film.
I think that could be just also attributed to your guys' original point that a lot of stuff in this movie is homemade. Like, they did a lot of movie magic, lots of miniatures, matte paintings, perspective, camera tricks. Like, they kind of used every camera trick in the book to make scenes look bigger, wider, longer. It was definitely a film, I think, that required a lot of like fudging in the editing room.
Where was the epilepsy stuff, Alex? Where do you see that?
At the very beginning, for sure, was where I saw it the most.
I'm trying to think.
Like when he's having the flashbacks when he's like becoming the Crow.
Exactly. Like, and like when he first like comes back to the apartment in the aftermath of it all, and he's like changing, and the I don't know, there was like, what was the name of the club or like the venue in the city that they would always like go to, and it was like that's where his band played and like the criminals hung out at, and
the bar that like the mom worked at and everything.
Fuck.
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh my god, I feel like I should know this on a trivia night to win a pint or something.
it's like a skeezy bar that like they all hung out in.
See if I can find it. The Crow Club. That does not show me.
That's just like a fan
It's
club.
a bunch of places called the Crow Club. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I also want to give mention to Ernie Hudson in this film. I think he's a really funny character and a really touching one as well. He's like, he's just like the most realistic character in and amongst these like bunch of fucking wackos. He's just like a guy. He's a cop. He like tries to do the right thing, but gets busted down. He's divorced. I like the scene where he's drinking a beer. Yeah, he buys street kids hot dogs. I like how I like when he is in his apartment drinking beer in his underwear and he still has his police hat on. I thought that was hilarious.
Like, he's just 80s cop. That's the thing, is he's just like that. That's why he's so fun and like likable. It's like he's 80s cop. He's like, I'm 80s cop and I've been through 80s cop shit and I'm divorced and I drink and now it's just rough for me and I busted down to beat cop and now I just, and you got like the shitty white cop who's like dicking on him all the time. And it's just
Mr.
like
Scarface.
Yeah, and it's just and it's like, it's one of those characters that is just negative for no reason. We have no build up. We have no
such a movie asshole.
We have no history. It's just like, hey, audience, this guy sucks ass. And then you just you have that character to like release your tension on the whole movie. It's like, oh, here's this guy who's gonna come in and be like, whatever you say, no. Whatever you think, no. Whatever your opinions are, they're wrong. You're a beat cop. Fuck out of here. And that's his
You think
role.
we can like
Seriously.
make a universe, an extended universe here where this is Ernie Hudson after the events of Ghostbusters?
Oh God.
Maybe he's just like went and became like a detective in like some weird
Yeah, they all went off
city.
to do their own thing.
And he's just like, I mean, damn, he went
Got
hardcore.
married, got divorced.
He married some lady who was like trying to make the streets better, but then isn't she the female cop that he talks to?
No, we never see her. But I like this. Maybe she gets killed and Ernie Hudson becomes the next Crow. Oh, holy shit.
Man.
Beat Cop Crow, 80s Cop Crow.
That would
He puts
be-
on the makeup. Can you imagine Ernie Hudson in that makeup?
Ernie Hudson.
Fuck yeah.
Jesus.
Especially now that he's like
Do
78.
we need like an 8th Crow sequel though? 'Cause
No,
I think that's
they should
like,
never. They should have never done any of them.
I think that's like a good segue to something
That's a
I
good
did
segue.
wanted to talk about is
You know they're gonna bring one back.
for a good movie, for like a good cult movie, if it does kind of take off later, sometimes it does get subjected to just the dead horse syndrome where you're just like, it just, every little ounce of whatever it could have had is just drained out of it. And when we have, I mean, Crow 2, because Jesse, you watched a few of the sequels, right?
I have seen all of the sequels. The only one that's worth even like a percentage of a watch is the second one.
Yeah.
After that, it's all complete trash. The second one I rewatched recently, right after I watched this one, because I couldn't remember it. I remembered it being like kind of weird and interesting, even if it wasn't good. And it has Iggy Pop in it, and I love Iggy Pop. And I stand by this. It's a weird one because it does exactly what you think it's going to do as a sequel. It's the same movie, but worse. The lead guy is just completely void of charisma, and the lines that they have him say make no sense. They try to have him do the like jokey kind of Brandon Lee thing, but the dialogue is terrible. And the performance is bad, and it's just strange. It's strange to watch. But it has the same structure of like, okay, these guys killed this guy and his son. It's his son this time. And he comes back and gets revenge. And it's like, he has to hunt down the 4 guys, and then there's like a big boss guy. And it doesn't set up these characters as having like the sort of relationship. You don't get that bar scene that you get in the original Crow where they swallow bullets. And you see some kind of like camaraderie with these guys. But in saying that, the movie is like hyper stylized to the point of like everything is just so strange looking. It's awash in all these neons and so much smoke. And the production design, like, I don't know if it's because they didn't have money, they're just making it cheaply, but I think it was like a really interesting production design. And I don't know, Iggy Pop is like amazing. And there's just something like really compelling about it, even though it's terrible. And I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on.
Yeah, I mean, I thought. Have you seen the second one, Alex?
No, I have not.
You haven't seen any of the sequels?
No,
It's worth watching just for Iggy Pop, man. He was gonna be Fun Boy in the first movie, but like couldn't due to scheduling conflicts or whatever. So that's why he did the second one.
Oh, he's great.
He's really great in that movie. I mean, it has kind of the more like high school drama. You know, it's like a high school kid who gets.
No, you're thinking of a different one.
Really? That's the
Yeah,
second
it's
one?
not that one. Yeah,
What's
no.
the one I'm thinking of?
Either the third or the fourth. I don't remember.
No, it can't be
Yeah,
the third.
no. It's like a French guy and his son gets killed, and he gets killed.
Oh wow.
It's
Man.
like a genuine sequel. You see adult Sarah's in the movie, and she like follows a crow to where he's rebirthed into his crow magic. It's ridiculous.
That is wild. I thought that was the second one. I was sure.
No.
Fuck.
So you know, maybe you need to go watch them all, Jeff.
I think
Report back.
Maybe. Yeah, but I mean,
Just have a day.
this is just one of those movies that like I think you either like it for what fun it can give, or you think it's like a broody edgelord movie, and it's always kind of put in that category of like people who like The Crow or like cringy and weird.
Yeah, I think it's a solid movie. In any event, it definitely has like some narrative problems, and if you're gonna like talk about what the movie's about, it sort of like bookends it with that weirdness. But I don't know, great performances. I love the dialogue and the characters. I mean, like I said before, though, if there's problems with this movie, I don't care. I don't care what they are. It's that kind of movie for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can like see how it is like that for a lot of people. Probably it has that feeling when you an aura when you watch it for the first time. I forgot what I was gonna say about it, but
You're gonna be Brandon Lee for Halloween this year.
oh
right?
yeah, exactly. But I'm just gonna be Brandon Lee. I'm not even gonna be the Crow.
Just not the Crow.
Just so you're just gonna be in like a skeleton costume.
Oh Jesus.
You're just gonna get thin and sexy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, The Crow, man, it's a straightforward movie that I think we all love.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Sorry.
There he is.
There he
We're back. Here we go. Just shaking off the rust. This movie has the potential to like get tapped again to make a huge comeback and like
For
to
sure.
just like make a huge like you go through the reboot section on Wikipedia, it's 5-6 paragraphs long, you know, and it going back all the way to 2008. People were like, oh, I'm gonna plan to write and direct like reinventions, reboots. So many different actors have been like said that they were going to be the ones that they were going to do it. Ridley Scott said he was going to do it, and I don't know, like Tom Hiddleston was in talks to play Eric.
At one point, Luke Wilson was as well.
Oh my god.
Luke Wilson himself wisely decided I should not do this.
Well, at least
I don't think I'm
job.
the right person to
good
do
job,
that.
Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson and like that face paint would have been also like amazing. It's just like a picture to have.
He's like, I decided to do
schlock.
Idiocracy instead, which is a great choice.
Yeah.
Oh, just leave it alone. Leave this one alone. Let it be.
Skarsgård.
Let it. Especially this one though.
Norman
like especially
Reedus.
this, as you know, a tribute to Brandon Lee. Just don't do it again. Just don't do it. Let it. It's fine. It's fine the way it is. Fuck off. Go make something new. Bad Hollywood.
So many people. God. In
Norman Reedus would have made a funny Crow.
Oh my God.
Jason
Who would be your
Momoa,
dream
like
if we had? Oh Jesus Lord.
Tom
No,
Hardy.
get somebody who can act. Tom Hardy. What the fuck? I like Tom Hardy, but no.
Nicholas Hoult.
What if we made like?
the kid
What if we did an
from-
old Crow? We like get Clint Eastwood to be the Crow. I'd watch that.
Nicolas Cage.
The ripe old age of 92. Nicolas Cage is any superhero. I'm in. Get him as Spider-Man.
I mean, Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony
that would be
Hopkins as an old
interesting,
crow.
But have him just
I like
fucking
that.
shredding on a guitar.
He's like he was in a rock band 60 years ago.
Dude, Jack Black could do it if you wanted to go in
Jack
just
Black,
a
if you-
totally
oh my
different
God.
direction.
No.
Oh, he's the happiest crow ever.
Exactly.
Or you just play into the broodiness and just have it be Jack Black.
It's called The Canary.
A really strange performance.
I guess Danny Trejo was in the fourth one. And
Was he?
yeah,
Oh, he's in anything if they pay him.
he would be an interesting
We
one.
could get Danny Trejo to be on this podcast if we paid him.
Oh, yeah.
Legitimately.
He has,
No,
he has
for-
We
pop-ups.
actually could.
He has pop-up restaurants and shit in LA all the time.
No, like
Yeah.
I saw Danny Trejo do a advertisement. So back like in like the late like mid 2000s, like 2011, 2012, if like for CS:GO, when you would have like all your skins for your guns and your weapons, people would do showcases on YouTube where you would show all of like your best, highest, most expensive skins and rarest skins. And this like super rich 16-year-old kid paid Danny Trejo to like do his showcase for him. So like he would film like the showcase, like the kid would film like the knives flipping and the guns and all the skins, and he'd be like, check out this red AK-47 red line skin, flawless. And he's like advertising this kid's like showcase, and
Oh,
it's
that's
like
amazing.
it has like, when I watched it, had like 1,000 views. It was just something that got passed around on like early Discord. It's like he'll just do whatever.
Maybe that's how we get the Real Weirdos off the ground. We get some money together and get a Danny Trejo episode.
And then we put like
Ask him to pick a movie.
we'll put like Real Weirdos and then like in caps and parentheses with Danny Trejo. And it's
Exclamation point!
it's
Exclamation
just
point! Exclamation
just at
point!
symbol. We need, yeah, it would like, but it's only like a fucking paid phone-in recording that he did on like Cameo.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I like the movie Desperado. I was in the sequel. Real Weirdos for the win. Who would be, if you could get like one movie boy or girl to be on this podcast, who would you choose?
Like for real, like anyone.
Yeah, for real. Like I could just make a phone call and they'd be on the next episode.
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt? I knew it. Solid choice.
Huh.
What about you, Alex?
I'll have to think. I have to think more about that. Like, cause I'm trying to go for like.
snap.
Dude, am I trying to? Oh fuck.
10 seconds.
Okay, that's plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
I'm going to go David Lynch. Ask him to pick a movie to see what he does.
That would
Well,
be
I
nice.
really like the type of movies that are my favorite are the movies that have.
Tell us about the weather in LA today, David.
Dude, fuck it. I'd go with
Pick a number.
Werner Herzog.
Oh,
Just to
that's an interesting
just
one
to
actually,
have his
because the
ridiculously interesting voice on our podcast.
I won't even try to do an impression of him.
it's funny you say that, Alex. One of the movies I have lined up for you and me to do is a Herzog movie, and you'll understand why when we get to it. We'll do
Okay.
that after Gaspar Noé. But I think we've run out here. I think we're on the tail end here. I think we've gone through The Crow, talked about why we like it, talked about why we don't care, or why I don't care if there are flaws in it. And I'm glad you guys enjoyed it as well, especially Alex, since you hadn't seen it like basically ever, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's one of the ones. I don't know. It's a specter of a movie, that's for sure.
But we're gonna get to something that is sort of a flip next week, right? Because you guys are gonna have me watch Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh
which
yeah.
Think of it
I've
as
never
like
seen.
a continuation of film culture cool, just early 2000s maybe. Like
It's
Think
like
of it as
2008,
I think
right?
it was a prequel to Mandy, like why he went out in the forest and lived with this chick.
Memphis
Okay,
Reigns.
I will think about that. I will have that as my cinematic universe
Not
for this film.
2008 though. It's like 99 or
watch it.
2000 that it came out.
Gone in 60 Seconds? No, I looked at it the other day.
Can't be 2008.
Gone in
'cause I was
60.
No, I was
Yeah.
18.
Yeah, we
There's
were
no
like
way.
well into high school by then.
I was like 12.
Oh,
when I watched
you're right. 2000. You're 2000.
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
What was I thinking of? There's some movie that looked the same. It's like called like Next. Was that it?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I mean, Nicolas Cage has only been in a few films, so I could narrow this down quite easily. Yeah, Next from 2007. Look at this movie, dude. Look at this. It has the poster art of that era. It's just blue and like orange and teal, basically.
Yeah, that was the color scheme.
Every poster was orange and teal.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Real Weirdos, we're back, baby. We are back. Next week we'll be doing Caaan't in 60 seconds.
Mhm.
Until then, I'm happy we're back. We love you. Fucking 100 subs and counting. To the moon, bitches. And we'll see y'all next time.
Bye-bye.
Later, everyone.
Bye-bye. Jeff needs a nap. Flip me off. Now our podcast is done, and we have to run. We know it is sad, but we had so much fun. Don't be bereft, Jesse, Alex, and Jeff. We'll be back real soon. The Reel Weirdos. We talk about movies for way too goddamn long. Bo 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 bo.